Welcome, my name is Irina Gaubinger, Project Manager with GWNet, the Global Women's Network for the Energy Transition. On behalf of GWNet, I am presenting the next portrait of the Energy Transition Role Models series. This initiative is supported by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy. I am here today with Laurie Wiegand-Jackson. Laurie is a successful entrepreneur with over 30 years of experience in the energy industry. She is the president and founder of Utility Advantage, an energy services consulting firm focused on improving energy efficiency and reducing greenhouse gas emissions to promote a more sustainable world with clean, affordable, and reliable energy. Laurie regularly speaks at industry and public sector events on the importance of sound energy policy, energy management strategies, and the benefits of energy programs. She has been recognized for her contributions to the energy industry, where she served as the president of the International Association of Energy Engineers, AEE, in 2007. Laurie received the Distinguished Service Award from AEE, and she was also honored in 2008 by the Executive Women of New Jersey as a leading policymaker. Laurie was inducted into the AEE Energy Manager Hall of Fame in 2016. Laurie is very active in promoting the professional advancement of women in the energy industry. She is founder and chair of the board of the Council for Women in Energy and Environmental Leadership. She also serves as chair of the Energy Focus Group of SMART, a US congressional initiative. Welcome, Laurie. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Karina. I'm glad to be here.
It's a pleasure. So let's move into our questions. What has the journey into sustainable energy entrepreneurship looked like on your side?
Well, I started my career as an engineer in the utility sector, and then I moved into commercial sales and then into management of the utilities energy conservation program. And that actually gave me a lot of insight into the importance of energy efficiency and conserving energy. With about 10 years of experience at the utility, I was then given a great opportunity to be part of a 3-person team to start up an affiliated natural gas retail business for the utility. So that was really my first entrepreneurial experience, and it was great because I had the full support of a large utility company financing the entire project, and with their brand recognition, so many things that would help us to be successful. But what I found in that experience was that I really had a passion for creating businesses from the concept and planning to creating a successful, viable business. And so I then did that for a couple of other companies. And then I decided to start my own business, mainly so that I could control the business strategies and the leadership decisions, and to create a corporate culture that was really aligned with my own personal ethics that included communication, accountability, respect, and excellence.
So then what is it today that motivates you in your day-to-day work?
What motivates me is really making an impact in other people's lives. And so that would be, for people that I do business with, for their businesses, for their careers, for the people that I, work with in helping them. And others in the industry as well. That really motivates me. And then also, since I was very young, I have, grew up mainly in like the 1970s in those sort of impressionable teenage years. We were very focused on clean air, clean water, recycling. These are kind of new things for us to focus on in the US. And so that created a passion for me every day to try to make the world a better place for the next generation, to leave our planet greener and better for the future.
Amazing. So what would you say was your severest hurdle and your proudest success so far?
So the severest hurdle it's something that is just consistent. It isn't like a single hurdle to jump, but it's like this continuously long hurdle race of being in a predominantly male dominated industry. For a woman, that is a professional in the industry, oftentimes I was the only woman professional in my department. Even 20 years into my career, that was not unusual. So I will say that I was blessed to work with many men that really mentored me and helped me to get opportunities. For me, that was the biggest challenge, was being overlooked for opportunities for advancement, and predominantly not for performance, but just because there were other men there, and they were more likely to get those opportunities. That kind of gender bias that still exists in our industry today. So the glass ceiling was an issue, and I decided then to start moving to other companies to really help advance my career, give me more experiences. But ultimately, that is also one of the main reasons that I started my own business, was that having hit that glass ceiling a number of times, the best way for me to address those hurdles was to start my own business. And then on the success side, I would say, besides, being a wife and mother, which I think are my greatest successes, in the business world, it's really the volunteer work that I've done with C-Wheel. So founding this organization that helps women to advance, to get education. We provide scholarships, we provide mentoring, training, career development support, and just that network of women to help women who oftentimes are that isolated one woman in their organization to feel like they're part of a community, that they really do fit in, and that they can make significant contributions in our industry if they just, hang in there. And so that would be, I think, my greatest success.
So you do have a degree in chemical engineering, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
But today, given the wide field of sustainable energy, what career paths do you see that could lead young women to entrepreneurial activities like yours?
Being an engineer, of course, I think a STEM education is a great foundation. So anything in the science, technology, engineering, math realm is really valuable, because the energy sector is in some ways, a technical sector. So having that foundation is a great starting point. I think working for the local utility company was very helpful for me. They were very supportive of me in my career as an engineer. But I really think that women could start anywhere, working at an energy service company, utility, retail supplier, technology company. It really doesn't matter. Just get your foot in the door of the energy sector. There's so much opportunity, and it's growing, the opportunities here. We're going to have there's, especially in the management and senior management levels, kind of this large scale retirement of people who are like myself, 30 years in the industry. And that itself is going to open up great opportunities for young people to really do well in this industry, besides the fact that the industry itself is expanding as we focus on global climate change and try to put forth, decarbonization. There's just great opportunities. So just get started, and then don't be afraid to try something outside of your comfort zone. Be willing to raise your hand, take those opportunities, try things that are cross-functional. So get outside of the area that you're most experienced in, and try something new when the opportunity arises. All of that will then put you in a better position to move into an advance in your career.
Are there any specific skills, or what are the most important skills for a woman who wants to be a successful energy entrepreneur?
So to be a successful entrepreneur, sort of interesting. I had the benefit of being an engineer, and that taught me problem solving skills. Being able to look at business processes, that's also something that came from my engineering background. So it was easy for me to, look at bottlenecks and look at ways of streamlining and all the things that help make a business successful. that was another skill set, sort of that process orientation or knowledge of processes, process documentation, and training. All of that benefited my businesses. But there's also the need for like management and business training. And that was an area where it was harder for me. I kind of learned on the job mainly. So I now encourage people that are looking to become entrepreneurs to make sure that they get some kind of business training, whether they just, read books or go online, or, maybe in their career before they become an entrepreneur, businesses that they work for, they could, encourage them to provide them support and training in those areas, because you have to be able to understand the finances and you have to understand how to manage people. I mean, those are two critical components of having a successful business. So I think that's kind of a good round sense of the types of skills that you would need. In terms of sort of personal skill sets, I would say really work on being resilient. Adversity is going to come, disappointment's going to come, but at the same time, that's happening in the midst of successes and joys. It's not exactly a roller coaster of ups and downs, but they happen alongside each other. And so just persevere, stay focused, and you will succeed as an entrepreneur.
Thank you so much for these encouraging words, Laurie, and for the good recommendations. So in your view, what are the opportunities and challenges for women who want to make a difference as a sustainable energy entrepreneur?
Well, I think the opportunities are significant, especially as entrepreneurs. Really, anything that women put their minds to, I think they can be successful at. We have innately, I think, the ability to persevere and to create something from nothing. We're very creative. And so naturally, I think we're very inclined to being successful as entrepreneurs. And in terms of being successful in the opportunities there, I would encourage people to look for what they're passionate about. I'd heard, gosh, I'm not sure who said this, but the person who finds their passion never works a day in their life. And that's really how I feel. I don't feel like I'm working. I love every day and what I do. So as an entrepreneur, finding that thing you're passionate about, whatever it is, don't try to be something else that, you hear an idea and somebody says, oh, here's a good idea. Maybe it is a good idea, but it's something for them to do, not for you to do, because it's really not your passion. So look for the things that you're passionate about. Again, the opportunities in training, opportunities in technology, new ideas, opportunities in project management, just helping these projects get launched, because the people who have the ideas aren't always the ones that can take them and make them reality. There's great opportunities, but find the thing you really love to do and make that the place that you focus your entrepreneurial energy. And you'll make a difference no matter what. You'll make a difference in the lives of your employees, yourself, your business partners. There's so many touch points to people as an entrepreneur. And as you get, as more time goes by in your business, you'll see more and more the opportunities that you have to really make a difference.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now let's switch to the totally different topic. Is there any recommendation that you have for combining a career with family life, personal life, and kids?
Yes, so, that I don't think there's a recipe per se, like I could just say, do this, this, and this, and it's all going to be easy. I think that it's important to recognize that it's sort of an ebb and flow. The idea of balance all the time, I think that's just not reality. Don't try even to always have balance in both those areas of your life, your career and your personal life, because there are times where the business is just going to be more demanding and you're going to have to shift and feel okay about yourself and your family. As a woman entrepreneur, your family is like your greatest cheerleader, your greatest supporter. They're there with you, and they're benefiting from the success, and they're learning from your trials. So but know that it's an ebb and flow. And there are times where, frankly, your family life and your kids have to take priority. And so I think in the workforce, that's one of the things that we're starting to finally get a greater sense of than, say, 10, 20 years ago, is that this is an ebb and flow type of thing where businesses have to give people the latitude to do the things they need to do when they need to, when their family life is demanding, but then acknowledging that as part of that, when the business needs you, you will be there.
Now, if you look back on your professional career, is there something that you would do differently?
That's a great question. And I'm sure everyone could look back and say, well, I certainly would have done this, this, and this. The challenge of that is that you then don't get that learning experience, right? So I'm always struggling to say, well, I would have done this differently. I do think that I did have a challenge with a business partner, and there were some legal issues. And I think that was really attributed to my lack of knowledge in that area as an entrepreneur. I really should have had a strong legal counsel in the very beginning to help me fully understand, an operating agreement and what does that mean, and being a managing member of an LLC, like getting that kind of legal knowledge. I just kind of went into it and was very trusting, and that was my mistake. So I learned the hard way, but it made me stronger and it made me wiser. And so in a way, I don't know that I would want to change that, but I think that would probably be the one area that I look at and think, well, maybe I would have done that differently in terms of the business partnership.
Mm. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Laurie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, if everyone thinks that it's all success and no failure and no trial as an entrepreneur or life at all, then, that's just an illusion, because behind every successful business, you hear this, they've had a few trials along the way. It really has never just been, an easy road to success for anyone. So, but again, I'd say that those trials do make us stronger. But when there are things that we could do to kind of prevent them, like be more knowledgeable or bring in expert support, that is really important for an entrepreneur to do. And even in today, for me, if there's an area that I don't fully understand because I can't possibly know everything, then I jump quickly into bringing professional expertise to support me. That is definitely a great model to ensure success, rather than trying to figure everything out on your own, especially early on. You're weighing the cost versus figuring things out, and the cost of $1,000 of legal support would have way outweighed the cost that I spent in the trials that I had with that partner. So yep.
Sure. Now that was an important do for an entrepreneur.
It is.
Do you have other important do's and also don'ts that you could share with us?
So yes, besides, making sure that you don't try to be the expert in everything and bringing in qualified people to support you as needed. That's really important to do. Create a plan, and then be understanding that, plans do change. So periodically review where you are against your plan, make adjustments to the plan. I think that's important. A lot of times people will start a business, but they don't do that upfront work, and then they don't continually see where they are. And so they'll end up being frustrated, or they'll fail when it's something that if they had been paying attention, they could have navigated a little to the right or to the left, and things could have come out differently. So doing some planning and then tracking where you are, I think that's an important do. And then the third one I would say on the do side is, again, around corporate culture. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and you'll have a great business experience, and people will enjoy working where where you are. And so those are 3 do's. On the don't side, again, don't expect yourself to be the expert in everything, and so it's okay to ask for help. It's important to ask for help, frankly. I think sometimes people, whether it's pride or fear or whatever the reason is, they just don't reach out. And part of like C-Wheel, our group of women and men that are part of the Council for Women in Energy and Environmental Leadership, is that we create that network for people that they can reach out. So I think that that networking is really important. So don't try to make yourself the one-stop shop in everything. And I would also say on the don't side is don't be too hard on yourself and the people that work for you. You know, we all have these visions and ideas of the way we want things to be, and but we operate in a real world where there are so many variables and things that you can't foresee. So, you know, be flexible and don't be too hard on yourself when things have to adjust or don't go exactly the way that you expected. And then, you know, enjoy the ride. It is truly a journey as an entrepreneur. I like the way you put that, things that you've encountered during your journey as an entrepreneur. So part of it is really enjoying the experience of being the entrepreneur and all that you're going through with your business.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, talking about somebody else's responsibility, which governmental framework conditions do you see as important to support women as entrepreneurs?
Great question as well. So it's interesting. I've done some traveling lately. I was in Chile last year where they had an initiative that was very metric based in terms of getting a certain percentage of women in positions of power and authority within certain sectors, including the energy sector. And I really was excited about that framework. Of course, they're having some challenges now in Chile since I went there for that event, but the idea of establishing metrics and encouraging business to really embrace this. If we don't do that, we're just going to end with a lot of more of the same. And, you know, we'll continue to see these industries being largely male dominated. So there has to be a concerted effort. You know, here in the United States, we try to shy away from mandates with kind of penalty provisions associated with them. We look at this more in terms of a volunteer initiative. But when you start tracking and people have to start reporting how they're doing, you know, that in itself, that information has significant impact on their businesses, impact on employees wanting to work at their businesses, impact on shareholder value. So I like that idea of the government coming in and creating that framework where we start really tracking how women are doing. How are they doing in terms of pay equity? How are they doing in terms of position equity, training equity? You know, how are these companies doing? And let's track that. And how, not just companies, but how's the government sector itself doing in those as with municipal utilities as well, and the energy services sector. The other aspect is I do think it's important for the government to support additional training for women because they just may not be able to get that in the businesses that they're in. And they may not be able to afford to pay for that training themselves. So having the government to be supportive of additional education for women as entrepreneurs so that they can be successful or, you know, have the odds of being more successful. I think that that's another great initiative that the government can support.
Okay, well, thank you, Laurie. I think you had a few important messages already to the next generation of women entrepreneurs in sustainable energy, but is there anything you would like to add as a conclusion?
Really, and this is, you know, for all people, the energy industry is just a fantastic place to have a career. I have encouraged many of my family members and friends and their children to look at the energy industry as a place to call home for your career. The opportunities are endless. You can really feel passionate about the value of what you're doing in terms of its impact on the environment. And so, you know, you have a great career opportunity and can feel really great about what you do every single day. So that would really be my message for women aspiring to become entrepreneurs in the sustainable energy industries. Focus on this industry, and on the entrepreneurial side, align yourself with other entrepreneurs. You know, spend time, reach out to women like myself and many others. We are more than willing to spend time and have conversations with you to help you and encourage you along the way. So be willing to kind of take that step, reach out, have those conversations, and then really listen and implement the things that you are hearing, because a lot of wisdom, just like for me when I was young and started out, and these are men and women too that can help you along the way. It really did make a difference. So reach out.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Laurie, for sharing your experiences and your insights with us. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. It was great seeing you again, Irina.